Space, a place that has fascinated me since I was a child. For me, nothing else stirs curiosity and fear within me more. An infinite void and unimaginable vastness, a place of extreme darkness. There are many dangerous phenomena lurking in the empty, immense darkness of space. The baseline temperature out there is minus 270 degrees Celsius and minus 453 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's not just this unimaginable cold that makes it impossible for us to survive there. Most planets, both within and beyond our solar system, have uninhabitable surfaces. For example, temperatures on Venus rise to 460 degrees Celsius, 900 degrees Fahrenheit during the day. Thick clouds rain down corrosive sulfuric acid, and the ground is covered with volcanoes and lava. Survival is also impossible on other planets. Or is that not the case? Over time, a number of Earth-like planets have been discovered. Take, for example, Kepler-22b. This planet is located in the habitable zone, which theoretically allows for Earth-like temperatures and the existence of liquid water. If the planet has an atmosphere similar to Earth's, the average surface temperature is estimated to be around 22 degrees Celsius. However, it is approximately 600 light-years away, making it impossible to travel there. This raises many questions. Could life be possible on these Earth-like planets? Does life already exist there? Or are we truly the only living beings in this infinite universe? That we are the only inhabited planet seems rather unlikely, considering the infinite size of our universe. The likelihood of life existing on distant planets can be calculated using the Drake equation, developed in 1961 by Frank Drake. The Drake equation uses 7 variables to estimate the number of detectable civilizations in the Milky Way. It is assumed that between 37 and 60% of Sun-like stars in the Milky Way host a planet that offers a temperate, Earth-sized world suitable for a civilization. The nearest possible world of this kind is about 20 light-years away from us. At first, this doesn't sound like much when compared to Kepler-22b, which is 600 light-years away. However, 1 light-year equals approximately 9.5 trillion human years. There is just one question the equation struggles to answer. Are we humans on Earth the only technological civilization? This question will only be answered if, perhaps one day, we receive a signal from outer space. Welcome to the second episode of Disturbing Things I've Found on the Internet. In the video, we see strange creatures resembling extraterrestrial beings. There is still not much information about the mysterious video you are watching. But before we delve into the details, I will show you the original footage. The first few seconds show a page from a book featuring drawings and descriptions of alien beings resembling those described by Charles Moody. Sergeant Charles L. Moody was working as a security officer when, at around 11:30 p.m., a strange object was spotted in the sky. Shortly afterward, he went missing. For a total of 6 hours, Moody was unaccounted for until he was found in a different location. After experiencing temporary memory loss, he gradually recalled what happened during those 6 hours. He was allegedly abducted by aliens who conducted a series of experiments on him. The creatures were about 2 meters tall and wore skin-tight black clothing. This is the description of the classic alien we know today, a being with a large head, an enlarged cranial structure, button-like black eyes, and long, thin arms. In the next scene, a title in French appears. Hiver 92 translates to Winter 1992, and L'Annoncienne is a small district in Quebec, Canada, near the town of Rivière-Rouge. Thus, it provides both a time and location reference. The following scene, though difficult to discern, seems to show a marked point on a map, potentially indicating the location where the mysterious creatures were found. Unfortunately, the exact spot is too unclear to identify. Before we discuss the individual scenes further, let me address the video itself. While the footage appears to be a video recording, it also doesn't seem to be. It looks like someone filmed a monitor with a camera, displaying photos. The video is titled EBE 1992 Eiger and comes from the YouTube channel RO Foo Fighters. EBE stands for Extraterrestrial Biological Entities, referring to life forms not originating from Earth but from distant planets, moons, or asteroids. The number 1992 indicates the year the footage was taken, and Eiger is said to be the location of the recordings. Eiger is a mountain in Switzerland that attracts many tourists to the nearby town of Grindelwald. This leads to the first controversy, as the research suggests 2 different locations. I found other YouTube channels that uploaded the same video, but I find this particular channel's version to be the most authentic. It's longer than the other versions and of slightly better quality, suggesting the channel owner might have the original video. However, this version was uploaded about 2 years ago, while mentions of the original footage online date back to 2008. Thus, it's unlikely that the uploader was the creator of the footage, as they would have likely uploaded it earlier. When analyzing the next scenes of the video, we see 2 small grey humanoid beings. They appear lifeless. The beings are being examined by humans visible in the photographs. One of the creatures is lying on the ground with long bent arms, while the other is strangely suspended from a wire. The photos seem to have been taken at night, and it appears the lifeless creatures are frozen stiff. Toward the end of the video, there is a brief sketch showing stick figures and animals surrounding another stick figure, depicted as a kind of chosen one. It seems that the person who made the video drew and filmed this sketch themselves. Further research led me to an online post, which was not from the person who made the video, but from someone who translated the original post from French to English. Here's a brief summary, and you'll find the post and all sources linked in the video description. According to the post, the strange creatures were discovered lying in the snow on a field or forested area near a road by 2 snowmobilers. It is unclear whether the location was Eiger in Switzerland or Quebec, Canada. The owner of the photos is reportedly the cousin of a friend of the former roommate of the person who made the video. Admittedly confusing. The wire beneath the arms of the grey being was placed there by the discoverers to lift it without direct contact. It was also mentioned that the lifeless bodies had a smell, suggesting they were starting to decompose and were not completely frozen. The discoverers left the grey lifeless bodies behind, but found them gone when they returned the next day. Initially, they chose not to release the photos publicly, wanting to first show them to ufologist Claude MacDuff, author of the book Le Procès de Soucoupes Volantes, the trial of the flying saucers. However, before that could happen, the photos were secretly filmed with a VHS camera. MacDuff reportedly said this wasn't the first time he'd seen such photos and advised against trying to profit from or publicize the story, as no one would believe it. For some time, they kept the incident to themselves. After a brief online search, I found the original book by Claude MacDuff, published in 1975, and purchased it despite not knowing French. I wanted to see if the strange sketches shown at the beginning and end of the video originated from this book. Unfortunately, I have to disappoint you. I found none of those sketches, only some other interesting drawings. The person who created the video finally decided to upload it to YouTube in 2008, though the original upload is no longer available. Due to a lack of knowledge about digitizing VHS tapes, the footage was filmed from a screen using a digital camera, resulting in the poor video quality. In 2016, a YouTuber named NewBeat2012 uploaded a video analyzing the authenticity of the grey beings. This analysis examined the physiognomic details of the bodies, showing skepticism toward the idea that they were mere puppets. The anatomical details of the beings closely resembled those of humans. The video highlighted details of the eyes, neck muscles, shoulder and chest muscles, as well as the leg musculature. The texture and color of the skin suggested exposure to extreme cold. The black and red patches appeared to be frostbite. There was also speculation about a form of mummification, which might explain certain visible characteristics of the body. All this could lead one to believe that these were human corpses. However, it was noted that the beings lacked obvious sexual or genital organs, casting doubt on their humanity. The video was titled Authentic Alien Grey EBE Footage, Analyzed Quebec 1992. Unfortunately, this video and the channel are no longer available. I have no source to confirm the authenticity of this account. It is possible that the story was entirely fabricated and that no real information exists about the video or the photos. This leaves us wondering, are these photos genuine? Catherine Olmsted, in her book Real Enemies, describes the 1990s as a peak period of paranoia, fueled by such myths. Thus, the theory that these grey beings are merely well-crafted puppets cannot be dismissed. Imagine you are aboard a spacecraft heading into the vastness of space. No human has ever ventured as far as you have at this moment. You are the only person for miles, alone in the infinite darkness of the cosmos. No one, not even you, knows what lies ahead. Suddenly, communication breaks down, and you are left entirely on your own. You try to re-establish contact, but no one responds. Unbeknownst to you, your final moments are being recorded before you ultimately disappear forever into the depths of space. It's probably one of the worst things that could happen to you. Just 108 minutes were enough to make Yuri Gagarin, a Soviet cosmonaut, a legend. On April 12, 1961, he became the first human to journey into space. He orbited Earth and made history during a time when the Cold War was at its peak. It was a fierce competition between two superpowers, but the Soviet Union succeeded in sending the first human into space. However, there are indications that Yuri may not have been the first person the Soviet Union sent into space. To understand this, we need to go back a few years to the night of October 4, 1957, when a metal capsule was launched into Earth's orbit. The first satellite, Sputnik 1, was now in space. At that exact moment, the Judica-Cordiglia brothers, amateur radio operators, sat eagerly in their basement in Turin, Italy. They should have been studying, but they couldn't resist witnessing this historic event. Once the frequencies were published, they became the first in Europe to capture the strange, beeping sounds from Sputnik 1. On November 3, 1957, about a month later, the Soviets sent the first dog into orbit. Her name was Laika. The Judica-Cordiglia brothers intercepted the satellite's telemetry signal during this mission, but they also heard something else. They detected the sound of Laika's heartbeat. They confirmed this by comparing the sounds to their dog's heartbeat. About 3 months later, on January 31, 1958, it was the Americans' turn. They launched the unmanned Explorer 1 capsule into orbit. The brothers, now equipped with their makeshift radio station on their roof, intercepted signals once again. They successfully captured transmissions from all 3 space missions, earning fame in Turin and continuing their efforts. Then, on November 28, 1960, the Radio Astronomical Observatory in Bochum, Germany, confirmed receiving strange signals from Soviet satellites. The Judica-Cordiglia brothers quickly tuned in and initially detected noises resembling Morse code. Using mathematical calculations, they identified the position and speed of the satellites emitting the signals. However, this particular signal was unusual. It was abnormally slow, suggesting that the object was drifting beyond Earth's orbit, moving away at a slow pace. The Morse code revealed an SOS distress signal, a universal cry for help. In February 1960, they intercepted 2 additional signals resembling human breathing, accompanied by a heartbeat. These recordings became more puzzling when 2 days later, the Soviets reported a failed re-entry of an unmanned spacecraft. Experts interpreted the breathing sounds in the recordings as those of a dying man. After recording Yuri Gagarin's transmissions on April 12, 1961, they captured a disturbing transmission from an unknown Russian female cosmonaut just 5 weeks later, in May 1961. Many stories circulate about lost cosmonauts who allegedly perished during space flights as early as 1957. According to some Western intelligence sources, no fewer than 11 fatal Soviet accidents occurred before 1967, both during flights and on the ground. The Soviet authorities were known to deny failures in their manned missions and worked to erase all traces of these cosmonauts, as evidenced by photographs of those who died attempting to make space history. As was customary in the Soviet Union, the death of Valentin Bondarenko and Bondarenko himself remained unmentioned by Soviet media. The incident was kept strictly confidential to protect the image of Soviet space exploration. Bondarenko died in a training accident. Equally controversial is the case of Vladimir Ilyushin, who allegedly launched into space 5 days before Gagarin. According to reports, Ilyushin sustained severe injuries during his landing in China. His poor health was cited as the reason his flight was not publicly acknowledged. It is unfortunate that several dramatic space events that occurred during this period were never acknowledged, nor were the fallen cosmonauts honored. The recording by the Judica-Cordiglia brothers not only suggests that Valentina Tereshkova was not the first woman to fly into space in 1963, but also highlights how the reputation of a nation seemed to take precedence over human lives. Just a few decades ago, we believed in the uniqueness of our solar system. Yet Earth is merely a small part of the gigantic universe. Our solar system is just one of billions. Today, we are discovering more and more planets in increasingly shorter intervals within the vast infinity of the universe. Are we alone in the universe? This is perhaps one of humanity's oldest questions. It is a question that has preoccupied me for a long time, and I hope we will get a clear answer within our lifetime. As discussed in the first chapter, there are numerous exoplanets, such as Kepler-22b or Kepler-452b, that exist within the habitable zone. These planets offer the possibility of Earth-like environments capable of supporting extraterrestrial life. Like all planets, our Earth was formed from stardust, originally a chunk of molten rock surrounded by a toxic atmosphere. As the planet cooled, the Earth's crust formed, water vapor condensed, and the first continents emerged, surrounded, like today, by vast oceans. However, at this stage, there were no living organisms, neither on land nor in the water. How life emerged from this lifeless matter remains one of humanity's great mysteries. The exact origin of life on Earth is still disputed, but the theory I find most intriguing is that of panspermia. This theory suggests that the first simple life forms arrived on Earth from space. Meteorites impacting Earth may, for instance, have carried bacteria. When it comes to Mars, many questions occupy our minds. Mars is a cold planet. Enormous dust storms sweep across its surface at speeds of up to 400 kilometers per hour. The temperature fluctuations are extreme, ranging from 35 degrees Celsius during the day to minus 125 degrees Celsius at night. There is no dense atmosphere capable of moderating temperatures, as on Earth. Mars's atmosphere consists primarily of carbon dioxide and is extremely thin, as the planet has only about 1/3 of Earth's gravity. Nevertheless, there is still a possibility that life once existed on Mars. Almost 100% of the planet has now been mapped by the orbiter Mars Express. For 20 years, Mars Express has orbited Mars, scanning its surface. The data collected has been compiled into images here on Earth, which are used by hundreds of scientists worldwide to deliver new insights time and again. It was discovered that water shaped Mars's surface. Rivers, massive floods, and glaciers have all left their mark on the planet's landscape. Recently, it was revealed that, despite the thin atmosphere, clouds can also form on Mars. On Olympus Mons, a 22-kilometer-high mountain, Mars Express recently detected water ice. The orbiter provided detailed information about the landing site of NASA's Perseverance rover in the Jezero crater. Without this data, a precise landing would not have been possible. The goal of the Perseverance mission was to explore an area that appeared, from images, to be a river delta. The Perseverance rover is searching for signs of ancient microbial life and was positioned in the Jezero crater because it offers the best chance of finding evidence. The river delta in which the rover is located formed about 3.5 billion years ago. It marks the point where a Martian river likely flowed into a lake. The rover is currently analyzing sedimentary rocks, which formed when particles of varying sizes settled in this once wet environment. On July 20th, 2022, a sample was collected containing a class of organic molecules, which will, however, only be retrieved and returned to Earth in 2030. This means that if bacteria are discovered in these samples, humanity will indeed have encountered extraterrestrial life. The Mars Express orbiter had already detected the gas methane in the atmosphere back in 2014, a gas often associated with bacterial activity. However, methane could also originate from volcanic processes. And now it gets even more intriguing. There are various theories about whether and how any potential life on Mars might be connected to life on Earth. According to the hypothesis of panspermia, life might have originated on Mars and been brought to Earth via asteroid impacts. Scientists believe that Mars had the same life-friendly conditions as Earth about 3.8 billion years ago. Calculations suggest that oceans may have covered up to 75% of Mars's surface at one point. And where there is water and a dense atmosphere, life can emerge. However, Mars lost its precious water early on due to the loss of its atmosphere. One possible cause for this is the effect of solar wind, a stream of electrically charged particles emitted by the sun. This solar wind can strip gas particles from an atmosphere and blow them into space. Unlike Mars, Earth is protected from this effect by its magnetic field. Otherwise, Earth would be just as inhospitable as modern-day Mars. The thought that Mars may once have harbored life, and that we might originally have come from there, is both unsettling and fascinating. What would have happened if Mars had not lost its atmosphere? Could life have truly evolved on Mars? And if so, would that life have become as civilized as we are? If you haven't seen the first part of Disturbing Things I Have Found on the Internet yet, you can find it on the right side, and on the left you'll find the third part. Thank you for watching, and enjoy continuing.